All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushua, Bahasham, Hakodash. Double honors to the double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. I peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. It's the brother, Barzal, here with a quick lesson. The Lord wanting us edifying, okay? So, I want to get into, this is a little mini series I want to get into. I was meditating on it through the spirit. Pretty much ways to get better understanding of the Bible. And teach. All right, the precepts. All right, so the main topic of this video is going to be going line upon line and precept upon precept. All right, meaning you're not going to get the full understanding of the Bible just reading it from Genesis, all the way to Revelation. All right. Of course, okay, you can get it through like, what happened through the storyline and such. But to understand, certain prophecies, what certain precepts mean, you have to go line upon line, precept upon precept. All right, that's how the Lord made it in order for, the elect to get the proper understanding. All right. So we're going to start at Isaiah 28:9. It says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. All right. Verse 10, it says, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. All right. So you might have to go from a precept in Revelation, all right, and you might have to go back to the book of Genesis, all right. For example, you will read Revelation 6:4 when it goes into the red dragon, all right. You will read that, all right, and then you will go back to Esau being born. He was red like a hairy garment, all right. The word Edom goes back to the word Adawan, which means red. I said it was given a great sword. All right, Esau is blessed with the sword. You read that in Revelation, all right, in order to prove that is specifically talking about the Edomites. All right, and I got a few precepts just to prove, how to do this. All right, and first I'm gonna prove it with Genesis 2:21. Proving what the deep sleep really meant with Adam and what it meant when the Lord took one of his ribs, because the Christians believe that the Lord basically put some sort of anesthesia on Adam and did some surgery, taking one of his ribs and poof, made it a woman and sewed it back up. No, that's not what happened. All right. When it says Genesis 2:21, and the Lord caused Adam, and the Lord Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So when it means cause a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, that means he caused Adam to go off, all right, commit wickedness. All right, and the Lord can do that. All right, the Lord can make you awake, all right, to righteousness, or put you in the spirit of a deep sleep to do wickedness. All right. And it says, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh thereof. His ribs talk about a close family member. All right. Which this was talking about Eve. All right. It says, in the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man, he made a woman and brought her unto the man. So the Lord took one of his close family members, all right, Eve, most likely his sister. It says, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. What happens when man and woman, all right, become one flesh? All right, they relate with each other, right? All right, that's how you become man and wife. All right, becoming one flesh. All right, laying with that woman. All right, through sex. Okay, so we got so to prove that the Lord Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, to prove that would be wickedness, that he put the spirit of him for him to go off, we will have to get Isaiah 29 and 10. All right, we'll start at 9 just to get to the point. So Isaiah 29 and 9, it says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink, meaning you going off. All right, you going away from the truth. All right, what happens when you drunk? All right, you can't walk in a straight line. All right, you know, when you get pulled over, all right, to prove you're sober, to prove that you sober, all right, the police will make you walk in a straight line. All right, and if you staggering and you can't walk in a straight line, all right, you get hit with a DUI. All right, driving under the influence. All right, and it says, so that's why it says they are drunken, but not with wine. All right, they weren't literally drinking wine. It was going away from the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, and verse 10, it says, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. You see that? So deep sleep, all right, saying that someone is in a sleep or a deep sleep can also be used as, you know, you going away, you know, sinning, all right, committing wickedness, all right, going away from the law, statutes, and commandments provided to the Israelites, all right, from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It says, and hath closed your eyes, all right, close your eyes from what? The truth. All right, so he would have closed your eyes from the truth. All right, you know, from the and what's going to happen when you close your eyes against this truth, right? You're going to go off, you're going to sin. Okay, it says the prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered, and the vision is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed. The book talk about the Bible. All right, and this understanding is going to be sealed to those you know, primarily that's not a part of the Lord's elect. All right, only the elect is gonna understand this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from the scriptures. It says, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. You see that? So the Lord puts the spirit on people to understand the Bible. All right, and just to prove that that deep sleep is talking about someone to commit wickedness, you could also line that up. All right, this is another precept you can use, going precept upon precept, line upon line. All right, you could use this as well. So we got, yep, 1 Corinthians 15, and we'll start at 33. It says, be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners, right? It says, awake to righteousness. You see how that's the opposite? When it was going into you being in a deep sleep, it was talking mainly about wickedness, going off, sinning, going away from the laws and statutes and commandments. But when you awaken, all right, that's also used when you wake up to go back to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, we was in a deep sleep, all right, distracted, drunken, all right, in the philosophies of Esau in this world. But when you awake to righteousness, as you can see, it says, and sin not. All right, so when you awake to righteousness, all right, you don't become a sinner. All right, and it says, for some have not the knowledge of Yahweh. That just proves it right there, man. All right, so the Lord can cause you to be in a deep sleep, or the Lord could cause you to be awakened. All right, the Lord has chosen those to be in a deep sleep, and he's chosen the righteous who are going to be awoke. All right, it says, I speak this to your shame. So that's how you know. All right, that's just a quick way how to prove that deep sleep it was talked about in Genesis was actually causing Adam to go off. All right, which even though the law wasn't given during that time, all right, it was still a sin. All right, so let's see, because the righteous seed through Adam had to get built up that way. All right, and then it came to a point where that the Levitical law was established. All right, not to lay with your sister and such. All right. So it says, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. His ribs talk about a close family member. We're going to prove that as well. And the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man, he made a woman and brought her onto the man. And watch, and the main point is going to be verse 23. It says, and Adam said, this is not my bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. All right, so well, actually, you can keep going down. It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. All right, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. All right. So we gonna get that. The key is the bone. This is now bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. All right, rib. All right. Now keep that in mind, so we can get to 29:14. All right. So we'll start at verse 29 and 10. It says, and it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. So Rebekah was actually related to Jacob. All right. And it says, and it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he had told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. So they was closely related to each other. All right, rib, bone, flesh. All right, meaning they was, related. All right, and that's the point of Genesis 2:21. All right, first we prove with the two precepts. All right, Isaiah 29:10 and 1 Corinthians 15, that the deep sleep means to sin. All right, so the Lord put the spirit on Adam to sin. All right, and it says, and he slept, meaning he sinned, and he took one of his ribs, meaning his close relative, as we just read, as we just proved that in Genesis 29. All right. So another good example, if you want to prove that the Lord, Salakia, if you wanted to prove that the Lord or the saints or the Israelites, is different ways you could prove that. All right, so we'll go to Psalms 31:23. It says, "O love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully rewardeth the proud doer." Salakia. It says, "Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord." So how we gonna prove that the saints are the Israelites? All right, we're gonna have to go to another precept in order to prove that. All right, it's not gonna be in the first verse of the next chapter. You're gonna have to go back and find which precept tells you that the saints are is Israel. All right, the Israelites. All right, so what you're gonna have to do, Psalms 148:14, it says, well, we'll start at 13. It says, "Let them praise the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, for his name alone is excellent. his glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, and people unto him praise ye the Lord. So clear as day right there, man. All right, that's how you prove that the saints is talking about Israel, man. It says all his saints, even of the children of Israel. All right. Then you can go to Wisdom of Solomon 3:9. Now that you know that the Israelites is the saints, you will read this, right? Wisdom of Solomon 3:9. It says, they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth. They talk about the Israelites, and such as be faithful in love and abide with him, for grace and mercy is to his saints, right? The Israelites, as we just read, and he hath care for his elect. All right, and how do you prove that the elect is talking about Israel as well? All right, well this proves it. All right, but at the end of the day, you got to narrow it to who is his elect. They'll be like, oh, who's the elect? And he hath care for his elect. That's not talking about any other nation besides Israel. So you go to Romans 11:7. It says, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath attained it, and the rest were blinded. The election, all right, going into the 1/3 of the Israelites, all right, who's going to be saved, all right, who's going to understand this wisdom of knowledge and understanding. It says, and the rest were blinded, all right, meaning the 2/3 who's going to get cut off and die, all right. Those are the ones who were blinded, all right. You could also say they're in the deep sleep as well, spirit of deep sleep as well, all right, because it's the Lord who puts you in that spirit of deep sleep. It's the Lord who blinds those who don't get the truth, all right, because that's how the Lord made it. That's how the Lord made it to be, all right. And you could keep doing this, going back and forth, proving these different things that I'm saying, but I just wanted to give a basic breakdown of how to go precept upon precept and line upon line in order to get better understanding of the scriptures and teach, all right, in a effective way, all right. But Lord, one of you brothers was edified, all right. With that, I'd like to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Hakwadash. Shalom.